Jay Moore. How are you?
What's happening? Thanks for the vine, Jim. How you doing?
Doing great, Jay. Good to hear your voice. Do your thing.
Great to hear your voice. Off the top, first of all, I would just like to say, Dan in D.C., never heard of you. Next, Victor Ramos. It's an honor to be here in the presence of the Smack-Off King, Victor Ramos, Jim. He's the defending champion, Victor Ramos. See, that's the problem I have, Jim, with the Smack-Off and Twitter and the social media sites, is you're supposed to engage with other people. But it's hard to engage with other people when everyone else is mired in their own negativity and anonymity, throwing mud at you. And you're the only one they know. If you Google my name or go to a Wikipedia page, you can learn a whole lot of stuff about me for ammunition. You know what happened when I Googled Victor Ramos? Nothing. I got a bunch of pictures of some other guy's wedding that doesn't even live near the Bay Area or NoCal. But it is an honor to be here in the presence of such greats. Trapper's Call, by the way, was one of my favorites I've ever heard. That was old school hip-hop, taking the young cats to school. I want to defend my 2010 Smack-Off title, but that's a lie. But that never stopped Victor Ramos before, Jim. Clones, you know Victor Ramos. He's the guy that got sort of AM radio famous for calling his shot and then not calling the first Smack-Off he tried to get to. That was Vic in no call. He was born then. And then a few years have passed by, and Vivian in the greater Bay Area, or Victor Ramos, has actually won a Smack-Off. The problem is, about a month ago, he already started taking credit for this Smack-Off. He's wondering how to spend his spoils. You're like Charlie Sheen, just running around telling people you're winning when all you're doing is losing. Everyone's laughing at you, Vic. In NoCal, you glossed yourself. You broke the cardinal rule of the jungle. Personal attacks and self-gloss are out, and you've cruised on it for your entire tenure as Smack-Off champion. Asterix, you're just like Charlie Sheen and his imaginary Oscar that I guess he keeps inside his unicorn. Let me tell you something, Vic. You're a bum. You decided not to call the jungle all year after you won your title. That's not what a champion does. A champion has to represent. You were an absentee landlord. As a champion, you're garbage. I guest host several times this year, and I gave you, Victor Ramos, an open invitation and an open phone line to call as respect. Victor Ramos didn't call. You know what he told Jay Stu, Clones? He told Jay Stu it was beneath him. Victor Ramos, you know what's never been beneath you? A woman. Vic, the only reason I have any idea that you are even on God's green and blue earth is because you called the show one day out of the blue while I was hosting to tell me that I'm fat, I stink, and I'm not funny. And I did take offense to that because I am funny. I'm damn funny. And it began in my mind an existential question. If I stink as an actor and I'm not funny, in your opinion, then what does that make you? Calling me to tell me these things, waiting on hold for an hour and change, that makes you a zilch, a zero, a nobody, a little boy who is only known by his CB radio handle. Hey, this is Vic and NoCal. Can I get a radio check over? You're also a moron. You're a cyber bully and a clown with a haircut. How your title hasn't been revoked or how your name doesn't have an asterisk next to it, I will never know, ever. But you should have been shown the door long ago, Vic, and here's something else. That you should say to all of your coworkers, followers, maybe they don't know this about you. Vic and NoCal made up a sentence that Jim said out of thin air, wrote it himself on Twitter, and did the old @JimRome and retweeted in front of it. That's lying, Vic. And not only is it lying, but as horrible a person as you are, to give Jim credit for something nice that he said about you is out and out libel. You are an embarrassment to the program. You took the little bit of fame, the little bit of juice that the show gave you, and you tried to parlay it into more juice. Like when you call your local sports radio shows as Vic and NoCal from the Jim Rome Show. Are you kidding me? And that's a fact, and I'll tell everyone off the air to back it up. That's pathetic. Only Jim Rome is from the Jim Rome Show, moron. You're the guy that calls the Jim Rome Show and eventually gets bumped for Jim Nance, which, by the way, led to the 3 funniest words ever uttered in the history of the world. Vic, call back. I laid low long enough, but you kept poking me with a stick and poking me with a stick, and now I'm awake. You got me. You want to battle Victor Ramos? Let's battle. But instead of each other battling with punchlines, let's battle to see who headlines, because no matter where any of us finish today, you know this as a fundamental truth, and that's why it bothers you. I am a ticket seller. You are a ticket buyer. So congratulations, Victor Sheen Santos, 2012 Self-Gloss Personal Attack Smack-Off winner. And I got to say something else. The Jungle, in closing, Jim, has always been a place of incredible positivity where people came together under the banner of the Jim Rome Show, tour stops, dates. We all hung out. We'd eat together, drink together. These people partied together. It was a brethren. And that stopped simultaneously with the exact same time Victor Ramos became the reigning king. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not, Vic. It's because there's a darkness inside of you. There's a hole where your goodness would be. You don't have any. And the Jungle can't thrive with someone as negative you at the helm. You built a wall between yourself and the rest of us. And I ask you today, Jim, tear down that wall. I'm out.
Oren in Denver. Oren, what's up, bro?
Nothing much. How you doing, Rom?
Doing great, Oren.
All right, I'm going to get straight to it. Let me see if I have this straight, Romello. Now the NFL owners and the NFL Players Association need an entire offseason, a U.S. District Court judge, not one but two federal mediators, one of which was the guy who was like the master of U.S. government September 11th Victim Compensation Fund to figure out how to split $9 billion in profits. Seriously? I mean, why not call in every judge on the Supreme Court bench? Hell, don't stop there. Get the president. Have Barack look under the hood and review the play. How about an impromptu general election? I know what my vote is. You can all go bleep yourselves. I mean, did anyone pass these nitwits the memo that the U.S. Gov is on the brink of shutting down as of tomorrow? I'm sure they're paying close attention to what's going on in the country, though. What with all the newfound time they have to spend with their families, because we all know how much they love to do that. I mean, on one side, you've got pro ballers hoping that the department that keeps track of child support is a casualty of budget cuts. I mean, the clones are no better, though. Salivating at the prospect that a shutdown means that taxes are suspended. To both sides, I say this. You have to be paying them first, you deadbeats. I'm not saying that a large cross-section of Clone Nation is eating up a thirsty alley-sized slice of that 9% U.S. unemployment rate pie, as much as I'm saying that to many of the clones, April 15th is just next Friday. You are nothing if not bitter and shiftless average clone. I don't want to bring everyone down with that important things going on in the world stuff, though, Romy. I think Trapper took care of that. After all, it's a smack-off. This year's big winner walks away with an all-expense-paid trip to Vegas to see an MMA fight, and that's appropriate, by the way. After all, what is the smack-off if not the Octagon? Either that or WWE SummerSlam. Same difference. Hey, Jeff! All the pre-fight stares, the bluster, the pyrotechnics, a throng of liquored-up, bloodthirsty onlookers and slack-jawed gawkers weighing in on the action. And no sooner than the first punch is thrown, I think Jay Moore took care of that, the action deteriorates to a good old-fashioned spooning on the jungle mat. Sweet! Talk about appropriate. How about Brute sponsoring the 2011 Smack-Off on a day when this next take will most definitely be the most common theme of the event? Hey, LeBron, what did your mom's five fingers say to the valet's face? Some guys just need to be slapped. The biggest question in sports is no longer when does Tiger Woods go back to having copious amounts of sex and winning majors. Reconcile with Butch Harmon. No, the biggest question in sports is what will Gloria James do for her next act? I must have missed it, but apparently after Allen and Ann were forced into retirement, the NBA ran an ad for an opening. Wanted, overrated, freaky hooper that no baller can be paired with effectively, and fruitcake nutty mother and son tandem. And yes, Ann, Tawana did tell me that. I heard Billy Packer's interview with you earlier this week, Jerome. I couldn't agree more. Now, if Chief Wiggum, a.k.a. David Stern, can take his marketing plan just a step further, the VH1ization of the association will be complete. Hear me out. You take Gloria, Delonte West, and Marquise Daniels' stepdad, move them all into a house together, and roll tape. You can call it Bonnie, Clyde, and Bowie. That's how you build a brand, because that's what it's all about these days, building your brand. My suggestion to LeBron, incorporate Queen James into your brand, kind of like Donovan McNabb's mom in those chunky soup ads. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, bam! Gloria pops up. She's got Chuck Norris in a headlock, a 40-ounce in either hand. See, it's all about branding. Which brings me to the current state of the jungle, much to the chagrin of Stu on a laptop in Manhattan. I'm going to end my call waxing poetic about the jungle then versus the jungle now. It's been entertaining to listen to Vic and Brad and Mike fight over which one is the big unit of the jungle's pronk of hate. Brad in that falsetto whine of his, sounding like a middle schooler on his way to ninth grade. The reigning king of smack, Victor, so arrogant, so low pro, Cheech Marin. You know, since Victor came off the text and jumped into the fracas, I've been trying to decipher if that's quiet confidence I hear in his slow, monotone delivery or a touch of thinly veiled little yellow bus rider. Both champs, and it's weird because the way I see it, even though he doesn't have the hardware to show for it, Angry Mike in Indy comes across as the Mo in this trio of three stooges knocking their heads together. The new breed of clone-on-clone violence birthed by Chad and Portland's of the jungle is far more slap and tickle than real banging. But I came up with the real. So for you new schoolers, I offer this. You can paint by the numbers, but you'll rarely come close to the brush strokes. I see them. Nowadays, every pistol out the holster popping off at the Pablo. You counterfeit Picassos love boasting, but your arms ain't long enough to box with Bob Ross, actor. Hollywood heaven has a place for these bastards, the fatherless. Clones be popping up like weeds in lawn, please. Like jungle legends grow on trees. It's all ease. It's all left up, Rome. War food chain music. Yes, indeed. Gotta run, Jimmer. Those green jackets don't fit themselves. Forget out!
Oren in Denver.